You know what I love to do? Eat. You know what you love to do? Eat. So why not cook some home-cooked meals and eat them from our sponsor, Blue Apron? Yeah! I wrote the ad. Blue Apron sends you food. It comes in pre-portioned bags. You follow step-by-step instructions, and you make the food for less than $10 a person. It is delicious, and you impress the people in your house. No one in your house? Tweet me, Greg Miller, the photos of your food this week, and I'll try to send back a video of me impressed with it. Check out this week's menu, like this month's spiced zucchini enchiladas, and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/gamescast. You will love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. That's blueapron.com/gamecast. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. Or as I like to say, don't eat a shoe. And I'm not joking about the photos, motherfucker. Try me. Final topic comes from you, the community, and I'm kind of in line because most of the shows come from you, but you did a great job this week. Reader mail for all you guys. We're going to start with Brian Poti. He says, Adam, what's your favorite memory of doing games media? Do you miss doing it?
I don't know if I miss it. There's little moments that I miss. You know what? I think what I do miss the most, and maybe you guys can tell me if it still exists, I kind of like the collegiality of, like, seeing, like, going to events and seeing you, and like every so often, like seeing like old school friends of mine, like Ben Silverman and Andy Mack. There was definitely a brothers in arms thing, every so often, especially for something like Judges Week or E3, where it's like, hey,
you go on these tours, these things.
How are you doing? Yeah. That part I miss. And every so often I get to go to these events like I did to see Far Cry 5. And I see, friends there. And I'm like, yeah, that part I like. That part I like. Just about everything else, I haven't had like that. Oh boy, I have one day to review Crysis 3, or wow, that kid hates me.
Yeah, I understand not missing that. One thing, and I'd love to know if you missed this, but working from home now with most of Polygon headquartered in New York and the rest of us scattered around everywhere, I do a little bit miss the vibe of like coming into an office with you and Tara and Max and like sitting around. Like the office workplace stuff is the stuff I miss.
And it was so funny because one thing I never adjusted to at Rev 3 was the way that all you guys worked in the office.
Yeah. Was that not how it worked at G4?
You put on headphones, and I found it so confusing. No, the way stuff would happen at G4, and how so many of the sketches occurred on X-Play, is somebody would yell something. Maybe they saw something on the internet. And then invariably, my friend Mark Fahey would grab his guitar and make a song out of what the person had yelled. And then 2 other people like, hold on, this. And then like a sketch would be born. Yeah. And I was always so accustomed to a raucous, loud, like people would just always be yelling at us. When we moved from the old G4 offices into the E building, that really caused like trouble for us because we were surrounded by people that
normies we call them.
Yeah, normies. They didn't like us, and we were so used to kind of talking to one another and just kind of spitballing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not that you guys were wrong to put on the headphones, but I would always like turn around to I'm like, Max, I have an idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
then I really started to feel like the old awkward guy.
It was also, I think that was probably a symptom of the fact that Rev 3 Games was part of Revision 3, which was part of Discovery Digital Networks, which was in one big giant open office space floor plan, and so like we were just a few feet away from like editors and producers and like finance people, and it was like there was
normies.
I guess so. Yeah, like if we, I think the closest y'all ever got to solving that problem was when you moved into that tiny corner of the office, and it was just crammed into this tiny spot where you had no choice but to like interact with each other.
Yeah, because if you spun around too much, I could actually like take off Tara's head.
Do you remember when I watched you electrocute yourself? That was probably the scariest part. That's the scariest thing that's ever happened in my life. Is watching one of my idols.
What was
you were like
doing?
You were getting under your desk, I think, plugging in your MacBook charger,
and it just absolutely I mean, I thought that was it. Like I was going to die to a MacBook.
Did it shoot up? Did it shoot up your arm?
I think
it went like there was enough, and it was so strong. I jumped back.
You jumped back. You were like clearly visibly electrocuted, and I looked at you, and you looked at me, and I was like, "Do I need to like call 911? Are you okay?"
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what to do, but something just happened.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing. It's like I'm a PC gamer. I was gonna get killed by a MacBook.
There you go. That's how it knew. It read between the lines.
Feel it.
No, that was one of the things about I didn't expect, because we worked in the spare bedroom in Colin and I's house for a year and a half, and moving in here for a while it felt like we were playing house, and then when we hired Andy, and then when like Joey's around, and like there's like it's weird to be, we're in separate rooms now, and like Nick will walk through and come back, and there was like the first week where people were working out of the office, and we were just like the new people working out of the office, and we were just like, they have a culture, and they're having conversations that don't revolve around us, and they have no idea what it was like to be in that shitty fucking place and like on top of each other, and me mad because Kevin was working at the kitchen table and I wanted to make sure I had dinner on the table for my girlfriend. You know what I mean? It's like, man, that's weird. And now it's like a real thing again, whereas for so long it was fucking around.
But you all feel comfortable here now, though, right? Like it
yeah,
feels
now it's a thing. Yeah, now it's a thing.
This is really cool.
This is your first time. I forgot you were spare bedroom. You were.
Yeah, I know spare bedroom.
Yeah,
so I went over the first time. I was like, interesting setup.
Yeah, that was the thing. Wow. I always try to apologize to everyone as I took them up the stairs. I'm like, don't look at my dog. He'll pee.
Like, you live and work here in the most deliberate, literal way. And I was like, I don't know if I could do that.
That's the opposite of work-life balance thing. When you work from home, it's like
you can't get away. It's always right there.
Yeah, the workday does not have a concrete end anymore.
Yeah, it's a rough one. Gabe Gerwin wrote in and says, Nick, how can I become the Cheeto champ?
Yeah, you can't. There's only one. There's only room for one of us.
Did you expect that video to blow up the way it blew up?
Did you tell me about this?
I don't know.
I don't think you did.
No.
And I was almost heartbroken. So it's kind of like
how do we not know? Yeah.
I worked with you for that long, and you never told me you climbed Everest or like killed someone and hid the body.
Well,
it's so to bring everybody up to speed.
I may have done one of those two things and haven't told you, but
out of the blue one day on Twitter, you just dropped this video. That's you at what age?
I was, oh God.
Oh, he was like 2 minutes. It was 2 minutes earlier. He still looks like that.
Yeah. What state are we in again?
This is North Carolina.
And you bought the biggest Cheeto off of eBay?
Yeah, and it's indirectly Adam Sessler's fault if you think about it, because I found that Cheeto on the G4 forums, which is where I used to hang out every day when I was like 14 or 15.
Yeah, it was kind of like the Silk Road of idiots.
That's exactly what it was. I was on the deep web, and there was a segment on Attack of the Show called "It Came from eBay," and someone had posted like, hey, check it out. They should do it. It came from eBay on this enormous Cheeto. Turns out the guy who posted that in the G4 forums was also the guy selling the Cheeto. No one else bid on the Cheeto except for me, so it was like $3 for this enormous Cheeto. Somehow the local news got word that I had the largest Cheeto. And
it came in on a flatbed truck, right? Everybody in the town saw it coming through.
Everyone in the town poking their head out the windows. And so this video emerged, and all credit to Max Scoville for resurfacing this, because I went to do the comedy button with him, and he brought up that video, and I was like, oh fuck, I forgot that even ever happened. And I went and looked, and I had like uploaded it to Facebook in 2005 because I was so proud of it. So I just downloaded that, threw it back up on Twitter and YouTube, and I literally thought like 3 people were going to find it funny.
It's your sincerity in that video.
Yeah.
That like I had to watch it I don't know how many times, where I'm like trying to see what's behind your eyes, where like he's grinning maniacally, right? Because he's like
he knows he's
got
pulling
attention
one
with a big snack food.
So I'll clear up one misconception of that video, which is people watch that video and they're like, you were just a greasy little fuck, weren't you? You look like shit. And the reality was I had actually, at 15-year-old Nick, had gotten cold feet about having the news crew come over, and I had decided I didn't want to do it. And at the last minute, I was like, you know what, I should just do this. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. So I took a shower 3 minutes before the news van showed up, so my hair was still wet. It was not grease, it was water.
Okay, explain the anxiety.
Once in a lifetime opportunity.
On camera, or it
was like 15-year-old me being on the local news and like being interviewed in front of a camera. It was terrifying. And so I was like, I don't know if I can like just like general teen on a camera nervousness, you know?
Yeah.
But if you look closely, I'm also wearing a Harvest Moon shirt with a giant chicken on the back of it and a Natsume logo on the front. So clearly I wasn't that worried about appearances.
You want to look cool for your friends. I got it. I've been
all my Harvest Moon friends.
Exactly. All your Harvest Moon friends. Gamer Up says, what do you guys think about a possible announcement of The Evil Within 2 at E3 2017 Bethesda press conference?
I mean,
it's locked, right?
I think it's possible.
I think it's got to happen. That's
really?
Don't you? It's time. It's been how many years since Evil Within?
I really liked Evil Within.
How did that
so
game
something
do?
I would like to hear.
Better than they thought it was going to do.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, you know,
okay.
it found critical success and definitely an audience for sure.
Yeah. Huh.
I'm stealing that as one of my predictions for the.
That's a cool prediction. I was about to say I forgot the Evil Within existed, except for the theme song of Carboys is Claire de Lune, and I used the Evil Within version of that song because it's fucking horrifying. I used that version in one episode for like 1 minute because I love the way they did it in that game. Like that game's whole soundtrack was so cool. Yeah. I would totally be down. I mean, what has Mikami been doing since Evil Within? Like I have no idea.
That's the thing. You figure I remember previewing
Evil Without.
I previewed it at IGN. It's got to be. It's time.
Evil Within without you. It's like a Beatles.
With or without you.
Yeah. Oh, they go from using classical music to using like licensed Beatles music, but like horrifying covers of them.
Yeah,
I play this
all
game.
of Revolver playing.
Are we back in the Cool Game segment? Cool Game Inc. Did we just come up with another one?
Shinji Mikami on Cool Games.
Get him on right there. Chris Moore, or as most people who listen to the show know him as More Scion, says, does Adam and Nick think Armored Core should change its mission play for the next installment?
Okay, this is the funniest question I've ever been asked.
Every week he asks Armored Core questions.
Oh, really?
He doesn't care who the guest is. He just asks Armored Core questions.
Lucky for y'all.
Which one was Armored Core?
Adam is a huge Armored
Mechs and
Core
shit,
expert,
but not the cool one.
Lot of people, don't be humble. Adam is the biggest Armored Core fan on earth. He loves it. He can name all of them. His name is actually in the credits of Armored Core 4. So just tell us a little bit about your mech loadout in the most recent Armored Core and like how you
How many flares did you use?
Yeah, how many flares?
4.
Okay.
It's interesting. It's
And I call my armored friend Giuseppe.
Just
interesting. You
Yeah,
the mech
I
guy.
wanted to have kind of a Pinocchio vibe
Yeah. Sure.
to my Armored Core experience.
What do you think
flipping on
is
its head.
what's the most overrated weapon in Armored Core, would you say?
Love.
Great answer.
Love can bloom on the Armored Core battlefield.
Battlefield.
Thank you. Over there. At Inazuma Jaga, what's Babylonian's favorite game of all time?
For the longest time, I've been automatically saying Phantom Dust.
Yeah, you have to.
And so now that Phantom Dust is like freely available to everyone on Earth, I think I should definitely keep saying it because anyone who has Windows 10 or an Xbox One can go download the entire game in HD for free right now for $0.00, and that's bananas. I feel like I live in this weird Splinter universe where like the same. I'm getting a Phantom Dust HD remaster. I'm getting a good Sonic the Hedgehog game. Like this year feels like someone
You died somewhere. You're in a coma.
Definitely died.
When I saw
died.
the announcement of the Phantom Dust remaster, I
Yeah.
had this image of like Phil Spencer waking up in the morning and you're like out on his lawn, say anything style.
Yep, boombox.
Yeah, just holding up an Xbox
Harvest
One.
Moon t-shirt.
Yeah, and I
interviewed
assume
him.
that's how it all happened.
Last spring, I interviewed Phil Spencer for the first and only time, and I
what
absolutely.
did you do?
I hammered him with Phantom Dust questions, and to his credit, he actually the fun thing about the Phantom Dust remaster, Phil Spencer literally did not know it was coming. Shannon Loftus at Microsoft Studios went off in a corner and secretly had the remaster begin, and then like right before E3, she surprised him with it, which is like I think a really awesome idea of just like she took this little. She
feels like Susan. What are you doing in that corner?
Nothing. Go away.
Squirreled away budget and surprised Phil Spencer with a Phantom Dust remaster, and that's like a weird game industry story that I enjoy a lot. He didn't even know it was coming. So,
Adam, I forget when you were on. Did you ever tell us your favorite game of all time on one of the previous shows?
I either say Ghosts and Goblins or something else. I always pivot on this one and just go to Ghosts and Goblins just because it's like it's out there.
yeah.
So
Final question. Harrison Millfield. He says, what's the best advice to a journo graduate who has freelanced and podcast for years for free for years and is trying to break through professionally?
stop doing it for free.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I get asked this question a lot, and I get a little uncomfortable because it is a tough racket. Like it is a much different world than the one I started in 1998, where I would probably give far more concrete advice. Like really think through if you want to do this, because it's not the most loving and caring world, and there's a lot of like challenges that come with it. But the big one is, and I just mean this to everyone: stop doing work for free. Because you are now creating the expectation that you would do that.
Yeah.
And you really can be taken advantage of. And you'll be doing it for exposure. And like I was even offered exposure in 2014 or 13. Remember that?
Well, nobody knew who you were.
No, it was South by Southwest. They wanted me to host something, and they wouldn't even pay for my flight or my hotel. Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, but we thought you'd get great exposure.
Yeah, get the
And I'm
Sessler brand out there.
I'm fucking exposed. All right, that's why you came to me.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I think that's great advice. It's like, and it's easier said than done, I think, to stop working for free. But when you work for free, it's not experienced the way that you want experience. And it's also like weirdly harmful for everyone else out there, because if anyone's working for free, then no one's getting paid.
No,
And
I
it's
mean,
like,
I don't want to sound selfish, but yeah, I mean that's kind of what has happened. Is there are people, and they're doing that from a genuine and honest place.
Yeah.
I'm not faulting them for that, but the pay is really, really low when you start in these things, and that's kind of what Games Press is kind of based on. I'm not saying every outlet, I'm not going to be naming names, but what I have always felt is one of the biggest challenges is at most places, you have people that have been around for a long time, and there's new people coming in. And those people who have been around for a long time kind of guide and kind of teach, because I believe a lot of reviewers, when they're young, you tend to be a lot more critical because you think that's the way that you can kind of prove your chops. And I remember sometimes you'd be like, hey, are you really sure that, that you want to, take this tact? Is this how you really feel about the game? And just, you can just kind of mellow them out so that, they can find their own voice. We don't see that as much anymore because it's very hard to grow old in the gaming press. I mean, that's one of the key reasons I'm not there anymore.
You talk to anybody, that's why it's like that.
And so a lot of these young people that are coming in are also coming in without experienced people in that kind of guidance. And I think that's creating one of the biggest challenges. I'm not going to say in the quality of the writing, but kind of, I think, in tone and temperament of a lot of stuff that's happening out there.
This is an obvious thing, but if you can hustle really hard and get yourself an internship, that's huge. I had an internship at Giant Bomb when I was 20 or 21, and I credit that to a lot of like the chances I got later on. Is people are like, you have actually worked at a video game place.
You know what? And the other one is learn to play the games most people don't like, because that's where you're starting out. You're not going to get the new Ken Levine game when you start out.
That's an interesting point.
What you are going to be given is stuff that's very genre specific, maybe sports. I mean, it's very useful if you know sports games. Certain types of strategy games. I mean, those, if you can be proficient at those, and you're willing to take on, you are going to become far, far more valuable.
What I always tell people is, when you start off and you're doing this, obviously do it every day, do all this. And he sounds like he's already doing that. But have a niche, right? If you're the guy and you're going to go write the umpteenth BioShock Infinite review, that doesn't speak as loudly as, hey, I'm the guy who only reviews this thing of this subset of just NIS games or whatever.
Yeah, I look at the last few times I've seen big websites hiring, I feel like the things that I see people, and anecdotally, what I feel like I see people hiring for right now is people who make video and people who do esports coverage. I think those are the two job openings right now. And if you have any interest in either of those things, it seems like a pretty smart.
You could be what's called a predator, which is a producer editor. You are kind of gold. And to be perfectly honest, I am almost worried even recommending being a predator, because I'm so old school that I still think editors and producers should be separate human beings.
Keep them in different buildings. Don't let them talk to each other. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny Gamescast, episode 122. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can get it on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames early. You get our bonus episode we're going to do over there if we still have time. We still have time early. You can watch Andy Cortez do stuff over there. Ain't that right, Andy? Yeah, that's Andy. Guys, this is great. You're both great.
Thank you for having us.
I think you're going to have a long career in this industry, both of you. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
I think
thanks, Greg.
Things might work out for this Adam Sessler guy.
Oh, maybe my hair will come back.
No, that's not going to happen.
And that dewy hope I used to have in my eyes.
Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you. Thanks for watching this episode of the Gamecast, hosted by me, Greg Miller. Click here to subscribe. Click here to see more Gamescast videos. Click here to support us on Patreon. Click there to go see the Kind of Funny content we do at youtube.com/kindoffunny. I love you.